So by the time you're seeing this video, it has been quite a while. It's likely been a long time, and I hope you guys didn't miss me too much. Ah, who am I kidding? You guys miss me a lot, I know it. But the reason that this episode has taken me so long to get out is this is a mega episode, which means that it has taken a lot of prep work in order to get done. I have done a ridiculous amount of material collecting, and the reason is, in today's episode, we are going to be finishing up our port city. I mean, is this really a city though? Like, we don't have the full city structure. I mean, a port village, a port area, a harbor? Let's call it a harbor. Is this a harbor? The Killa Harbor. Yeah, I don't know that that works. But anyway, enough fiddle farting around. We have some work to do today. So the last time that we were here, we actually did some work on the lower port area. We got in a bar, we got in a picnic table, we got in a ton of stuff into the area in order to make this area feel more alive. We also went ahead and expanded the port up to the second level and expanded it further back into the rest of the community area. That's what we're going to be working on today, is this expansion. We're going to get the entire top portion of this build done. And now it's time for my favorite segment, Counting with Killa. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 builds, ladies and gentlemen. We have 9 builds to complete in today's episode. Can you tell why it's going to be a mega episode yet? Can you tell? We got a lot of work to do. So without further ado, let's go ahead and let's jump right into it. So this first build that we're going to do here is going to be a Manor style build. It's going to be a big grand masterpiece here that is going to be overlooking the entire port. The way that I want to do this build is on each side we're going to have a smaller subroof, and then over top the entire thing we're going to have this big grand archway roof that has some outcroppings in it lined up with this beam, lined up with the center, and then lined up with this beam. Then, at the bottom of this build, basically anything that is below this level is going to be mostly stone materials. And then anything above that level is going to be mostly wooden materials. As for this building over here, we're going to do some funky stuff with this one. First is going to be the main section of the building, which is going to be kind of a tower shape, but a longer tower shape. As you can see, we have a rectangle here, and the way that I'm going to do this is I'm going to bring this build up, hit it with an A-frame going this way, and then kind of in a midway portion, almost lined up with this area, I'm going to cut out part of the roof and go up a little bit more with a taller tower, and then have another A-frame cutting across in the opposite direction. So this is going to be kind of a funky looking build whenever it's done, but I think I'm going to make it a lot better. And then over to the side over here, we're also going to have a small outcropping from the entire build. It's just going to be like an additional room to the entire thing. There are going to be 2 builds that go right here, but they're going to be mostly just small, basic cottages. There's not going to be anything super fancy here. We're going to go with some pretty nice A-frame style roof. We're probably going to have all of our roofs not exactly A-frame. They're going to be kind of curved. So maybe like a U-shaped roof on all of these, but we're going to have 2 cottages going here. Over in this area, another small cottage. However, I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do with this build yet. It's probably going to be one of the last ones that I do. And then over in this area, we're going to have a bunch of cottages sharing walls together all the way along here, and the roof is just going to make a wave pattern between all of these beams. So this is going to be like your bulk housing where a bunch of people all live together. Well, technically it's not shared housing, it's a bunch of individual houses all sharing a wall, kind of like an apartment complex or something like that. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that is the plan for all of these buildings, and without further ado, it is time to kick it into time-lapse mode, and let's get building! And there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That is all 9 of the buildings done for this area, but we are nowhere close to done. If you guys have been around my channel for a bit, you guys know that I always say no build is done without a bit of landscaping. However, in a port area, there's not a ton of landscaping that can be done, so we're mostly going to be decorating. So like we did on the lower port section, we need to get in some items into the area to make it feel more alive. We need things like picnic tables, we need things like hay bales, we need barrels, we need all kinds of things that can be sold in a market like over in this area. So we need to get in some things that are smaller to fill in the space. And there are a couple of items that I love to use to fill in areas like this. Things like barrels are a great way to fill in an area, as well as things like hay bales, pumpkins, melons, and even some kelp blocks are a great way to fill in areas and give the player something different to look at. And while I don't have any melons or pumpkins, our good friend Beardstone actually does, and he told me that I could buy some from him somewhere in his base. This area has changed a lot since I've last been down here. How do I get down? Is this it? Nope, that goes up. Okay, so I finally found the pumpkins. I'm just going to take 2 stacks of these. That should be plenty for the port area. Now I need to find the melons. When this dude told me that his base was a maze, I was like, oh, how bad can it be? Beardstone, your base is a maze, dude. I have no idea how to get around this area. And after a few minutes, I finally have found the melon chest. Not bad, gonna go ahead and take 2 stacks of these. If I need more, I'm sure I can come back and pinch some more from him, and I'm sure he wouldn't mind. But for right now, I think this will do, and I'm gonna give him 5 diamonds for all of this melon and pumpkin that he's allowing me to have. So, up we go. I have to say, getting out of his base is a lot easier than finding your way around it. And one last thing that I want is some kelp. Hello there, Drowned. So let's go ahead and talk about some of the things that I like to do in order to fill in an area. First and foremost, in between buildings that are very close together, I like to block off the line of sight straight through to the backside of the building. So I like to do this with hay bales, with barrels, things like that, just so if you are walking down this street, you can't see over to if there's another street on the other side. Or if there is another build back there, anything like that, you kind of want to make the player feel more contained going down this road to where they don't see other things out in the distance. Another thing that I like to do in areas to make them feel more full is adding in little market stalls. Market stalls that are selling melons, market stalls that are selling pumpkins. You can even set up small market stalls that are selling things like hay bales as well. So any type of market stalls will make an area feel a little bit better. Also, any type of pops of color, so greenery or lanterns or anything like that will make an area feel a lot better. And one of my favorite things to do is getting in a fountain. These things are absolutely amazing if you can get them to work out right. So what I have up there is just some walls going straight up with a little cup-shaped thing made out of stairs. And then my idea is for a water source to sit at the top and then flow in 4 different directions and then end up down here in a nice little pool of water. So in order to get this to work out right, we're gonna need 1 off the edge. So right here should be where the water falls down. So that should be 2 blocks in each direction, just like so. And then what we'll do is we'll just make a little decorative bowl here at the bottom for the water to fall into. So something a bit like this will work perfect. Now I just need to get the water in that will fill in this area. But just look at how much space this thing actually takes up. It takes up a huge portion of the area here, but it still leaves our road nice and wide for somebody to walk down. So things like this, features like this, are amazing for taking up a huge amount of area, but also adding just a little bit of decorative flair. Let's go ahead and get some of that water in. And there we go, a nice little fountain brought into this area just to make it pop a little bit more. Any type of color that you can get into an area where most of the builds are stones and woods, this is going to be a great feature. It just adds a little bit of color, a little bit of pop. It makes the area feel a lot better. So there are a lot of different things that you can do in order to fill in an area. You can add in a small park, you can add in fountains, you can add in markets, you can add in anything that is small and will take up area and make an area feel like a street that you're walking down. There's a ton that you can do here, and these were just some of my ideas that I've come up with. Now I'm gonna go ahead and completely overhaul this area with those small details. And to be honest with you, doing decoration like this is a lot like doing interiors to builds. There's no right or wrong way to do it. It's just mostly filling in an area, making that area feel like it's actually lived in, like this is the street of an old port city. There's no real method to it. Just come up with some ideas of ways to fill an area and then just crack on with it. See what it does. See if you like the way that it's coming out. And yes, I do realize that I'm saying that while I suck at interiors. But Jesse B is actually going to help me by coming over here and giving me some ideas for some things that I can do for interiors. But we'll probably have to do that in the next episode. By the way, I kind of like this area. Check this out. This was an idea that I had. It's just a little flower market. I like it. It's very open to the air. That way the flowers can get rain and stuff like that. But some of the bigger flowers are actually kind of in a showcase area. Does that make sense? I hope that this makes sense. I like it. I think it's pretty. And several hours later, and we are left with an area that looks like this. Tons of small details around the entire area. Let's go ahead and let's walk through it. So starting off, we have the very first house. This is the manor that we created at the beginning of the time lapse, and the first thing that I wanted to do was really fill in this left side of the manor. So I had to come up with something that was relatively big that would take up a little bit of room in the corner of this port. And I think that a tree right here does that perfectly. Kind of a small landscaping area that this house has done outside of their house. Little small crooked tree with some little bushes around. I could probably do something a little bit better other than just the too tall grass. I could probably go with some bamboo into this area just to bring out a different color, a slightly greener color. However, this works perfectly. Put some bushes in the corner over there to kind of nullify that harsh edge of the building. Same thing on this side, just put in some bushes in the corner there. And then I added in this little potted plant scene here, just as a little touch of color. Nothing too much, but something that's quite nice. Moving on to the next house, I have a small plant pot here with some small flowers, and then around the side, I have some of the too tall flowers also in a plant pot there. So not bad at all. I like how that came out. Here in the kind of center area of the town, I decided to get in some more custom trees like we have here, and we also have a little campfire place back here in this area. Go ahead and pick up this crafting table. That doesn't need to be there. We got ourselves a little campfire area. We got ourselves our nice big fountain. I filled in some of the areas between the buildings to kind of make it harder to see through by adding in some flowers, some potted plants, basically cutting off lines of sight as much as I possibly can. Got ourselves a nice little park here with a park bench and a tire swing and another custom tree. And then around the back we have the markets that you guys have already seen. The melon market, the pumpkin market, and then also the flower market. And then all the way back here, this building, we're going to do something a little bit special with a little bit later on. Probably the next episode I'm going to really focus heavily on interiors. But this building is going to be pretty much all interior for the most part. Jesse B has actually already came by and given me some interior ideas for all of these buildings, including that one. And I'm actually pretty excited about doing that one. I think it's going to be fun. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, this is how you fill in an area after you have your builds. Just walk around the area and see, hey, where do I have some empty space? Where could something go that I could fill all of that empty space? And eventually you'll end up with something like this. I spend tons and tons of time, many hours, doing things like this because I literally run around in an area, get a feel for it, and kind of feel for where could something go? What could go there? And does that make the entire thing mesh together? But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I do hope that you guys enjoyed this episode. It is truly a mega episode. It has been so much fun to do this, and I still have more work. I wanted to get the entire port done. However, there's still all of the interiors and stuff for these buildings to do, and I think that I'm probably going to do those over on my Twitch live stream. So if you're not following me over there, I highly recommend you going, giving me a follow, and coming and checking me out. But in the next episode, I will show you whatever we got done on those Twitch live streams at the beginning of the episode, so you guys can kind of get a feel for what we did with the insides of these buildings. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I do hope that you guys enjoyed. If you did, be sure to leave a like on the video, as well as if you're new around here, be sure to subscribe. But anyway, guys, that's going to be it for me today. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. You guys have a great day.